let's look at some great people speaking about Swami Vivekananda. According to Subhash Chandra Bose, Vivekananda is the maker of modern India. Mahatma Gandhi said, Vivekananda's influence increased my love for my country 1,000-fold. Tata, one of the greatest personalities of our country, was reportedly influenced by Vivekananda to establish the Indian Institute of Science. We have this French writer, Romain Rolland, saying, if you want to know India, study Vivekananda. In him, everything is positive and nothing is negative. It was the day of the great Hindu festival, the Makara Sankranti, when special worship is offered to Ganga. He was born in Calcutta, today known as Kolkata, West Bengal. A mother was praying for a son to Lord Shiva, and she wanted a son like Shiva. A baby was born. The baby was very handsome, lovely eyes, bright and beautiful. So who were the parents and who was this baby? This baby was Narendranath Datta. His parents were Bhuvaneshwari Devi and Vishwanath Datta. His mother, Bhuvaneshwari Devi, was a very pious lady, and his father, Vishwanath Datta, was a very famous lawyer. This boy was known by many names. He had a large number of names. Narendranath Datta was also known as Veereshwar Shiva, and his nickname was Billy. He was a very happy, energetic young boy. Both his parents had a profound influence upon him. In his childhood, his mother used to tell him a lot of stories from the epics, the Upanishads, and the boy used to listen with rapt attention. He had a very creative and imaginative mind. His father was a great intellectual, a man of liberal views, and the influence of the father was equally great upon the mind of the young boy. As a child, he was very restless and naughty. On some occasions, his mother would be totally frustrated as she would be unable to control him. Finding herself at a loss as to what to do, she would take a pot of water and pour it on his head, saying, Shiva Shiva. Much to the surprise of everyone, the boy would become calm. He was very fond of animals and had a lot of pets. Among his boyhood pets were a family cow, a monkey, a goat, a peacock, and several pigeons and guinea pigs. Right from his childhood, the boy exhibited certain special qualities. He was very selfless. He would give away anything and everything. Once, his mother locked him up in a room upstairs. From the window, he espied a poor sadhu standing on the road. He immediately dropped some clothes that he found in the room to the poor man on the road. He developed a special fancy for wandering monks whose very sight would greatly excite him. One day, when such a monk appeared at the door and asked for alms, Narendra gave him his only possession, the tiny piece of new cloth that was wrapped around his waist. He was very active and played many games with his companions. Some of his favorite games were King and the Court and meditation. Whenever he played the game of the King and the Court, he would assume the role of the monarch and assign to his friends the parts of the ministers, commander-in-chief and other state officials. Another game that he liked very much was meditation. They would sit with their eyes closed. Once, it so happened that while they were playing this game, the other boys, who would open their eyes slowly, saw a snake. Immediately, they got up and ran away. When the cobra came near them, the boys shouted out, "Naren, Naren!" But Naren was unaware of anything. He was lost in deep contemplation or meditation. Such was the power of the concentration that the young boy had right from his early days. He was a bold, brave and strong boy. He was very honest and helpful. Another important quality that he had was that he would reason out things. He would never accept anything blindly and without verification. He would argue and he would reason, and he did not believe in any kind of superstitions. He would never hesitate to speak the truth openly and boldly. He was always a born leader for the rest of his companions. As a student, he was bright, sharp, intelligent and curious. His favorite subject was history. He was, however, not a bookworm. He read many books. His memory was very sharp and he took part in a number of extracurricular activities. He had a great love for music and could sing very melodiously. One of the greatest traits in his character was his sense of curiosity. He would go to any length to satisfy himself about an answer to a question. He would not accept anything easily. While he was at college, one day his professor was absent. Therefore, the principal of the college and professor of English literature, Professor Hasty, took their class. He was teaching them the poem Excursion, written by William Wordsworth. He spoke about the concept of mysticism. Narendranath very curiously asked the principal to explain what mysticism meant. Though the professor explained to him, the boy was not really satisfied. Finally, the professor told him to go and meet Sri Ramakrishna. He explained that Sri Ramakrishna would be able to give him a better understanding of the word mysticism. So now started this questioning spirit, and it was this that led him to Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Ramakrishna was a great saint, a priest at the Kali temple. He was a spiritual giant who later became Vivekananda's guru. Narendranath went to Sri Ramakrishna and he directly asked him this question, "Have you seen God?" And Ramakrishna replied, "I have seen God more intensely than I see you." Thus started a battle between his inner self and his questioning mind. Naren met Sri Ramakrishna. However, he did not believe Sri Ramakrishna. He looked at him with wonder and astonishment. Ramakrishna would go into Nirvikalpa Samadhi. He would sing, he would dance, he would appear to be just like a mad man. Naren therefore got a big doubt. Is this man mad? He just could not come to a proper conclusion. He was now in a state of total confusion. In the meantime, he lost his father. The rich family now fell into hard times. Sometimes they had no food to eat. He tried to get a job. His mind was restless and he was torn between the material and the spiritual world. After a long conflict and a period of great questioning and doubt, finally he surrendered at the feet of his Guru, Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna considered Naren to be one of the 7 sages, and he asked his disciple to work for the cause of humanity. Naren used to meet Sri Ramakrishna regularly. Sri Ramakrishna passed away on August 16, 1886. Naren now had to look after the other disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. They took the vows of sannyasa. After some days, each of them went on pilgrimages as wandering monks. Naren was restless and travelled the length and breadth of the country. His heart bled at the poverty and the illiteracy of the people in the country. He travelled all over India. Finally, he came to Kanyakumari. Sitting in deep meditation on the rocks at Kanyakumari, a thought flashed across his mind. He decided to attend the Parliament of Religions that was going to be held in Chicago. His desire to do something for the country was so great that he thought that he should attend the Parliament of Religions and see how best he could do something for his country. Therefore, the Maharaja of Khetri purchased his ticket, gave him some warm clothes, and he set off on May 31st, 1893. It was a great journey, the journey to the West. After overcoming many problems and difficulties, finally he found a savior in America in Mrs. George Hale and their family. He presented himself at the Parliament of Religions. There, on that day, he was the last speaker to introduce himself. He had never addressed such a huge audience of about 5,000 people, and his heart was beating with fear. Butterflies were dancing in his stomach, but with a silent prayer to Goddess Saraswati on his lips, he stood up and addressed the audience. At the Parliament of Religions, he was an instant celebrity. His opening words, "Sisters and Brothers of America," created history. The entire audience stood up and applauded for a full 2 minutes. He had struck an invisible chord. He represented no religion but the essence of all religions, that is Hinduism. He became a global figure. He was criticized and appreciated, but he had made a mark not only for himself but for the whole nation. It is this that brought about a turning point in the history of the entire world. He spent the rest of his life working for India and trying to inspire the youth. The Ramakrishna Mutt and Mission, the headquarters at Belur Mutt, is a standing testimony to the great efforts of Swami Vivekananda to make his country a greater country. So now let us look at some of his exhortations, like how we should build our character, how we should work for our nation, and how we should be able to make ourselves comfortable and confident. It is very essential at this stage to bear in mind that the most important thing that we require to have is to have faith in yourself. Remember that all power is within you.